Now, this mademoiselle manages to publish one of the cringiest books in human history, in which she confesses that she is a racist. I am not kidding. Like, she actually goes to universities and confesses that she is a racist because, according to her, she is a racist and she is a white person. And because all white people are the same, and she is one of them, then all of us have to be racist. And if you deny that you are a racist, it actually proves that you are a racist. Now, again, this is her book, right? Like, this is her work of art. This is the academic literature that she contributed to. And despite the fact that she's going around and admitting and confessing be a racist, she's not getting canceled, like most racists do. Instead, she is getting offered tens of thousands of dollars for a couple of hours of her time where she gives a speech explaining to people how she is a racist. I had the misfortune in reading passages of her book. It sounds like I'm exaggerating. But see, on one hand, I would tell you to read the book as well, but then I know what I would subject you to. Like her book should be classified as torture by the Geneva Convention. Like, if you have an inmate or a prisoner of war, and you start reading this book, it would be inhumane treatment for them. Like, it should be considered as a form of torture. Not because, like, what you hear in this book upsets you, it's so fucking cringe. It is so unbelievably cringe. Now, the interesting part is that at least I assumed that her credential, her PhD, are real. Right? Like, she is talking about pseudoscience, like, her entire book does not pass the scientific merit. Like, it doesn't have the scientific theory applied to it, which is experiment, observation, the ability to reproduce the experiment. No, it's literally her opinion. But it turns out that her opinion isn't actually hers. You see, what's interesting, according to this, D'Angelo67 tells fellow white people that they should always cite and give credit to the work of BIPOC. Now, I'm not a tech-savvy person. I don't know how to use the internet, so I had to go into my house and pick up, like, one of those things that are called books, you know, the ones with paper, right? I couldn't find the word BIPOC in it. Must be something new that they made up. My dictionary is from 2010, by the way. Anyway, what I find interesting is that it's only white people that need to credit the BIPOC, right? Like, BIPOC don't have to credit themselves. White people don't have to credit themselves. BIPOC don't have to credit white people, but in her words of wisdom, there is, like, only one rule. White people need to credit BIPOC. Now, she's a white person. She's very outspoken about it in her book. And for some fucking reason, she doesn't credit the BIPOCs. Like, as you can see here, there have been a lot of interesting similarities. She did copy the homework. She changed it a little bit here and there. And many people are now accusing her of plagiarism. Like just entire parts of her books, not giving citations. I never understand why they don't do this. Like, it's so fucking easy to just give a citation. It's not rocket science. You just have the quote, and then you mention where you got it from. But I guess, you know, that you don't get the applause. It's like, oh, well, you didn't come up with it yourself. You took it from someone else. Oh, big fucking whoop. You know what I find absolutely fascinating? Because the conversation isn't just about her. The conversation is about universities in general. Like, I went to law school and I went to med school, and I would consider these to be not the most difficult things in the world, but I would say that they're more difficult than gender studies. Like, can we agree to this? Like, the volume of knowledge, the difficulty in understanding them is far superior than that of gender studies. I even remember, like, I used to have a colleague of mine, which was from RISE. Like, it wasn't gender studies, but it was like the Romanian equivalent of it, like international relationships and socio-economic factors, some bullshit like that. And they were always whining about how difficult it is. It's like how much they have to study, and I'm like, okay, well, can I see? And they hand me like this little brochure of 100 pages, and I'm looking through it and I'm skimming through it, and it's like, yeah, I can go in front of your professor right now and take the exam. Why are you fucking complaining? Like, here's one of my textbooks. Here, have some molecular biochemistry, you twat. All 400 pages of it. How long does it take for you to study? It's like, well, but I don't have the basis to understand this. Oh, well, okay. So basically, It is one of the easiest things in the world to whine about social justice, to gender studies. Like, I would ace all of those fucking exams. It's like you just memorize the shit and you repeat the shit. They don't even want to think for yourself. They're not even trying to get the students to actually use their brain in any capacity. Like, all you have to do is to memorize the stuff, right? Why are you plagiarizing? Why? It's just like, come on. It's not rocket science. It's the most basic bitch thing in the world. Just like, if you want to plagiarize something, just go to the Communist Manifesto, replace the proletariat with the BIPOC, and replace the bourgeoisie with the white person, and then take from that. And maybe people won't notice. Or if they do notice, you're not plagiarizing, you're paying homage. Now I'll tell you the thing about plagiarism, which should really shock you. For those of you who don't know, it's almost impossible to plagiarize in 2024. It is next to impossible. Why? Because they have actual programs, they have algorithms which do literally this shit, right? Like, you put in the text in the program, and the program already has the library of knowledge. It already has, like, all of the previous works that have been done. And they will try to find if your work is identical to something else, and it comes up with these little red shits. It's all automated. Like, there's no fucking way you can cheat the program. And the thing is, like, when you're a PhD, when you're a university professor, it's not like one person that's supervising over you. It's an entire commission. It's an entire committee. And on top of that, there's dozens of people that look into you. So the only way that I can honestly believe that people manage to plagiarize is if they're allowed. Is if the corruption is at such a level that they just don't care. And at that point, fuck academia. Like, I'm sorry to say this, but, like, making sure that plagiarism doesn't exist is the only thing that would keep academia in some level of prestige. Because you can say, well, yeah, those people are talking nonsense, but at least it's their nonsense. At least they managed to pass the difficulty of the peer review. This is the same thing with what's her name, the one which couldn't say that the Holocaust was a bad thing, from Harvard, yeah, from another respectable university. And the reason I think she stepped down is because they didn't want to create a scandal where more people would investigate, and they would have to ask the same questions I'm asking, like, how was it possible? Who else was in on it? How many other works of plagiarism are there? You know, it's absolutely hilarious. Like, if a student plagiarizes, they're immediately kicked off the university. No ifs, no buts. Like, this is not a joking matter. It's like the one thing that is like the sacred rule in most universities around the world: do not steal other people's shit. They're like comedians, right? You're not supposed to steal another comedian's joke. And yet, it keeps turning up. And what's interesting, like, this is not an investigation by the New York Times. This is not an investigation by the Wall Street Journal. You know, it's not like big publications, the authoritative sources that are unveiling this. It's either student journals that are coming up with this, or like some random publications off the internet that are finding it out. So again, shameful display. Absolutely shameful. I don't expect that she's going to have to answer for this. I don't expect anything is going to be done about it. But again, I genuinely am surprised because of the subject matter. It's something so easy that I'm willing to bet if you go in high school and get a kid from 12th grade and ask him to write a PhD level gender studies shit, they will be able to do it. I mean, I shouldn't ask you to read her book because I would be encouraging people to harm. But you know, read someone else that read her book and made a resume. Ask ChatGPT. Yeah, ask ChatGPT to tell you about her book, and you will see just how basic bitch it is. Like it's not something that requires a scientific level of understanding. It's not something that, because usually, like, when you read someone's PhD, like if you read the PhD from someone that finished law school or someone that finished engineering or mathematics, like, you want to understand shit. It's very complex, right? But what she wrote is just like, again, anyone could have wrote it. But for some reason, it's very prestigious. Okay. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see it in the comment section. Take care.